All right, the next technique we're going to do on our next steps sampler is called couching. So couching is a technique where you secure something to the front of your work with embroidery stitches. And so you can use yarn, you can use roving, you can use thicker embroidery thread, you can use little strips of fabric. You can really secure almost anything down. So there are two different ways. I'm sure there are more than two different ways, but there are two different ways I'm going to talk about that you can do this. And one is simply by cutting a piece of whatever you're going to be securing down. In this case, it's a variegated yarn, and not going through the fabric with what you're securing down. So for this one, I'm going to couch this piece of yarn down using embroidery floss, and I've used a 6-strand embroidery floss, and I've used all 6 strands, so it's nice and thick. And so all I'm doing is going over this yarn by stitching stitches around it. And I'm going in and out of the fabric really close to itself. So you can see how that's looking. And I'm trying to space them out as evenly as possible. I did secure my embroidery thread to the back of my piece with a knot like I normally would, but I decided not to secure the yarn for this one. Oh, and that one, look at that, it didn't go around. No problem, I'm going nice and slow. So I'm gonna pull that yarn through, make sure it held down. Then come up here and go ahead and stitch that down. And there you go. So that's how I'm doing this one, just like that. And so it's not, you know, the most secure thing in the world because neither of these edges are secured down, but it sure does look cute. And I just did 1 stitch in each place. You can do multiple stitches in each place too. Then I'm going to go ahead to the back and I'm going to make a little knot in the back to secure this down because I'm going to show you a different way to do couching. So I'm using the same yarn for this, but I have threaded a bigger tapestry needle, and I'm going to come up from the back, and I'm going to hold my yarn on the back to make sure I don't pull it all the way through. And then I'm going to go down on the front at the edge of where I want my couching to be. I'm going to take my needle off, and for right now, I'm just going to let the tails in the back hang, just like that. I'm going to use the same 6 strands of embroidery thread, and I'm going to tie my knot, and then I'm going to come up and I'm going to make little X's on this one. So coming up from back to front, I'm going to do an angular stitch just like that, and then I'll come up here and I'm going to cross that there. So look at that little X. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm using my thumb to kind of make sure my My thread is where I want it to be. My yarn is where I want it to be. Holding it in place. And I'm gonna do another little X here. It's super fun to then to do these, do X's all the way down, and then come back through with a different color and do just a little bar there. It's a really fun technique and is really kind of open for lots of interpretation and creativity. Just like that. I like not tugging the yarn too snug on the top because I like for it to have a little bit of its texture and puffiness. So when I'm done with this, I will go in and I'll do my knot on the back, and then I will just trim this. I don't need to knot the yarn, but I don't want to have really long tails for that. And so when you do a knot on the back, one of the good things about having an extra piece of fabric, having your backing fabric, is that you can dip in and just grab a little piece of that backing fabric to make your knot in the back on. And I always leave a little loop and I feed through twice and then tug my knot down, and then I have a nice little secure knot. And there we go with couching. So fun.